Welcome back to Bookish Dives. We've explored some fantastic reads together before, and today we're diving into one that really promises to shake up how you think about your day-to-day life and, well, your focus. We're talking about Indistractable, How to Control Your Attention and Choose Your Life by Nir Eyal and Julie Lime. Now, this isn't just some bestseller, though it is a Wall Street Journal bestseller. It's been really praised by people like Arianna Huffington, Mark Manson.
Yeah, they really loved its practical, sort of realistic take on managing tech and well-being.
It's true. And I think what makes it stand out is how it cuts through all that noise, the constant feeling of being distracted. It kind of shifts the blame away from just our devices, which is, let's be honest, the easy target.
Right, we always blame the phone.
Exactly. Instead, it digs into these deeper reasons why we get distracted in the first place. And crucially, it gives you actual things you can do about it, puts you back in control, like one review said, back in the cockpit. Back in the cockpit. I like that. So if you've ever felt like your phone or maybe just your endless to-do list is kind of running the show instead of you?
Yeah.
Well, this deep dive is definitely for you. We're going to unpack the core ideas, the strategies from Indistractable to help you get that focus back and really choose how you spend your time. So where do we start? What's the big foundational idea? The book kicks off with this really almost counterintuitive idea that distraction isn't mainly about the tech, the external stuff. It's saying it's deeper. Can you unpack that for us?
Absolutely. And it is counterintuitive because we're so conditioned to blame the notification, right? But the authors challenge that head on. Their core idea is that basically all human motivation, including distraction, comes down to a desire to escape discomfort.
Discomfort?
Yeah. Which leads them to this really powerful statement. Time management is pain management.
Wow. Time management is pain management. That's quite a reframe. So even when I'm like scrolling Instagram because it feels good, the book says I'm actually escaping something uncomfortable, like the pain of wanting.
Precisely. You're escaping the slight discomfort of boredom or uncertainty, or maybe just the task you should be doing. The book has this great story about Zoe Chance, a Yale professor.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that.
Well, she got this fitness tracker, a Strive pedometer, initially for research, but she became completely obsessed, like walking over 2,000 stairs in the middle of the night because she just couldn't stop.
2,000 stairs.
Yeah. And on the surface, you'd say, okay, the pedometer's the problem. But the book digs deeper. It suggests the real issue, the root cause, was her underlying discomfort, stress about her marriage, career uncertainty. The pedometer was just the outlet, the proximate cause.
That makes so much sense. It wasn't the tech itself, but what she was using the tech to avoid feeling.
Okay.
And the book talks about specific psychological factors behind this restlessness, right?
It does. It highlights four main ones that kind of keep us in this state of unease. There's boredom, obviously.
Which can be surprisingly powerful. Yeah. Didn't they mention a study where people shocked themselves?
They did. People literally chose mild electric shocks over just sitting quietly with their thoughts for 15 minutes. It shows how averse we are to being alone with our minds. Then there's negativity bias, how our brains naturally latch onto bad news or negative experiences more strongly than positive ones.
Right. Evolutionarily helpful, maybe, but not great for modern happiness.
Exactly. And rumination, getting stuck in those negative thought loops, just replaying things. And finally, hedonic adaptation.
Hedonic adaptation, remind me.
That's our tendency to just get used to stuff, good or bad. You get a raise, you're thrilled for a bit, then it becomes the new normal. Same with setbacks. Eventually, we adapt.
We're sort of wired for dissatisfaction then.
Yeah.
Always chasing the next thing.
In a way, yes. Evolution didn't favor the blissfully content caveman, right? You needed that drive. But the book argues this inner restlessness, while uncomfortable, is also fuel. We just need to learn how to steer it.
Okay, so step one is getting a handle on these internal triggers. And the book says, don't just try to suppress the urge because that backfires.
Right. Suppression often makes it stronger, like telling yourself, don't think of a pink elephant.
You immediately think of one.
Exactly. So instead, it suggests exploring the urge with curiosity. Not judging it, just noticing it.
How do you do that practically?
Well, there are techniques like the leaves on a stream, visualization. You imagine thoughts or urges as leaves floating by. You just observe them without grabbing onto them. Or the 10-minute rule. This one's really practical. When you feel an urge, check email, grab a snack, whatever you tell yourself, okay, I can do that. but not for 10 minutes.
And just wait 10 minutes.
Yeah, often by the time the 10 minutes are up, the intensity of the urge has passed, or at least lessened. It creates that crucial space between the impulse and the action. You're kind of surfing the urge, not being wiped out by it.
Surfing the urge. I like that visual.
Okay.
So it's not just managing the feelings, but also how we approach tasks themselves.
Yeah.
Making boring stuff.
Less boring. Yeah, finding the fun in mundane tasks. The book references Ian Bogost, who talks about fun being the result of deliberately manipulating a familiar situation in a new way.
Okay. Like how?
His example was mowing the lawn. Instead of just drudgery, he found fun by focusing intensely on the process, maybe setting constraints, like making perfectly straight lines or racing against a timer. The point isn't necessarily that mowing becomes thrilling, but that you can hold your attention by finding novelty or challenge within the task itself. You're designing engagement.
That's clever. Kind of gamifying your chores. Now, here's something I found really interesting. The book challenges how we think about willpower.
Ah, yes, the whole idea of ego depletion.
Right. That willpower is like a muscle that gets tired. We all feel that way sometimes.
We do. But the book points to research suggesting that might not be the full picture. Willpower might behave more like an emotion. It waxes and wanes, but it's not necessarily a finite resource that just runs out.
So believing you have limited willpower makes it true.
Sort of, yeah. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think you're powerless against that cookie, you probably will be. The key antidote the book proposes is self-compassion. Talking to yourself like you would a friend who slipped up.
Instead of beating yourself up.
Exactly. Accepting setbacks as normal, part of learning, not as proof that you're inherently weak or lack discipline. It builds resilience.
Okay, that makes sense. Self-compassion over self-criticism. So once we're working on those internal triggers, what's next in this Indistractable model? Step 2 is make time for traction.
Yes, and this is fundamental. The book puts it brilliantly. You can't call something a distraction unless you know what it's distracting you from.
Ooh, good point. You need to know what you want to be doing.
Precisely. So this step is about turning your values, what's truly important to you, into actual time on your schedule. It uses 3 domains: you, relationships, and work.
And you schedule them in that order. Yourself first. That feels radical.
It does, doesn't it? But think about it. Sleep, exercise, reflection. Those things fuel everything else. Then relationships, partners, kids, friends. The author talks about having a fun jar with his daughter for spontaneous stuff, scheduled date nights, even planning chores fairly.
Okay, so you block out time for yourself, for connection, and then schedule work.
Exactly. And the method they champion is time boxing.
Time boxing. Like putting everything in blocks in your calendar, no white space.
Pretty much. Every minute gets a job, even if that job is thinking time or scheduled relaxation. The goal isn't perfection, it's intention. Did you do what you planned to do? That's success.
It shifts focus from outcomes, which we can't always control, to inputs our time and attention, which we can control.
You got it. It's about being proactive with your time, not just reactive to whatever comes up.
Okay, internal triggers managed, time scheduled for traction. Now, step 3, hack back external triggers. This is where we tackle the notifications, the interruptions.
Right. This is about consciously looking at every ping, every ding, every person stopping by your desk and asking, is this serving me or am I serving it?
Taking back control of the environment. What are some examples?
Well, think about workplace interruptions. They mention a study with nurses.
The colored vests.
Yeah. Wearing bright vests that signal do not interrupt dramatically cut down medication errors. For us, it could be as simple as a sign on your monitor focus time, or even, as the book playfully suggests, a concentration crown for family.
Huh. A concentration crown. I might need one of those. It's about clear signals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nonverbal cues to protect your focus without constant confrontation.
And what about the digital interruptions? Email.
Oh, email.
The bane of modern work.
Yeah.
The book breaks it down. Total time spent on email, number of messages, time per message. A simple equation, right?
Makes sense. So you tackle both parts. Yep. Reduce the number by sending fewer emails yourself, maybe using office hours for non-urgent stuff, delaying delivery so you don't start instant back and forth, and reduce the time per message by batching checking email only at set times and the touch it twice rule.
Touch it twice.
First touch is quick, scan and tag it. Does it need a reply today, this week? Second touch, later, is when you actually write the reply. Stops you rereading the same message 5 times.
That sounds much more efficient than my current chaotic approach. What about group chat? That could be a black hole.
Huge time sink. The advice is treat it like a sauna.
A sauna.
Get in, do what you need, get out, don't linger. Schedule specific check-in times, be ruthless about who's in which channel, and don't use it for complex problem solving or just thinking out loud. That belongs elsewhere.
And meetings. The dreaded meeting.
The rule is simple. No agenda, no meeting, period.
Love that.
Meetings are for making decisions, gaining consensus, not for brainstorming usually.
Right.
And critically, make them device-free. People check out mentally otherwise.
Good point. Keeps everyone present. Okay, the biggest external trigger for many, the phone. What's the 4-step hack?
Right, the phone. Step 1, remove. Delete non-essential apps, social media, news, games you mindlessly open. Be honest with yourself. Step 2, replace. Access distracting services like social media only on your desktop at scheduled times. Use a watch for the time, not your phone. Find alternatives. Step 3, rearrange. Clean up your home screen. Maybe just essential tools. Put everything else in folders off the first page. Reduce visual triggers. And step 4, reclaim. Turn off almost all notifications, calls, maybe messages from key people. That's it. Use do not disturb liberally.
Remove, replace, rearrange, reclaim. Got it. Sounds like a solid plan for phone hygiene. And this applies to desktop clutter too.
Yep. Clean desktop, maybe one everything folder. And for online reading, use tools like Pocket to save articles for later, scheduled reading time, instead of falling down rabbit holes.
It's all about adding friction to distractions and removing friction from focused work. Okay, this feels like building layers of defense. What's the final layer? Step 4, prevent distraction with packs.
Packs, or pre-commitments. This is your last line of defense. Inspired by Ulysses tying himself to the mast so he wouldn't jump overboard when the siren sang.
Locking yourself into good behavior, basically.
Exactly. When you know your willpower might fail, you set up something in advance to stop yourself.
Lay effort packs, making the bad habit harder.
Precisely. Using website blockers like Self-Control or apps like Forest where you grow a virtual tree that dies if you leave the app.
Oh, I've heard of Forest. That sounds motivating.
It is. Or even just putting your Wi-Fi router on a simple timer outlet so the internet shuts off automatically at night. Adding effort stops impulsive actions.
Okay, that makes sense. Then there are price packs. Putting money on the line. That sounds intense.
It is intense.
Yeah.
But it leverages a powerful psychological bias. Loss aversion. We hate losing things, often more than we enjoy gaining things.
So you bet against yourself.
Essentially. The book cites studies on smokers who put down a deposit they'd forfeit if they failed a smoke test. They were way more successful. The author himself did this. Taped a $100 bill to his calendar. Either he exercised that day or he had to literally burn the money.
Burn money. Wow.
He also made a $10,000 pact with his editor to finish the book manuscript on time. The potential pain of loss is a huge motivator. But again, self-compassion is key if you slip. It's a tool, not punishment.
Definitely a powerful, if extreme, tool. And the ultimate pact is changing your identity.
Yes, identity pacts. This is about telling people, I am indistractable. Maybe even wearing a t-shirt saying it.
Really? Does that work?
It reinforces the identity you want to embody. You start acting in accordance with that label. Rituals also help, like a specific routine before deep work. It signals to your brain, okay, it's focus time. Even just teaching others about being indistractable makes you more likely to stick with it.
Fascinating. You become the person you claim to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so this framework is powerful for individuals, but the book takes it further, right? Into workplaces, families.
It does, which is really important. It argues tech overuse at work isn't just individual failure, it's often a symptom of a bad culture. Specifically, high demands plus low control equals job strain.
Which sounds miserable.
It is. Can lead to burnout, even depression-like symptoms. But companies like BCG and Slack showed that creating psychological safety, where people feel okay speaking up, setting boundaries, saying, I need focus time, can transform things. It requires leadership buy-in, though.
So a culture of focus, not just individual effort.
Yeah.
And what about kids? We worry so much about kids and screens. It's not just about banning devices, is it?
Definitely not. The book pushes back against techno-panics, reminding us every new tech faced similar fears. Blaming screens is easy, understanding the why is harder. It suggests looking at kids' psychological nutrients borrowed from self-determination theory. Autonomy, competence, and relatedness. If kids aren't getting these needs met offline, they'll seek them online, finding control, mastery, connection.
So the answer isn't just less screen time, but more fulfilling offline experiences.
Exactly, and empowering them. Help them understand why they reach for the device. Teach them media literacy. Model indistractable behavior yourself.
Like the author's daughter setting her own timer.
Yeah, giving her autonomy over her screen time within limits. Also helping them hack their external triggers, maybe feature phones first. Teaching notification settings, definitely keeping screens out of bedrooms at night. It's about teaching them skills, not just imposing rules.
Building their internal capacity. Okay, final area.
Yep.
Relationships. How does distraction mess with our connections?
Oh, massively. It's contagious. Leads to phubbing, phone snubbing. We've all seen it, maybe done it.
Guilty.
Right. The book suggests creating social antibodies, new norms, like gently asking, everything okay? If someone checks their phone mid-conversation, it subtly reinforces presence. And for partners, it's about consciously protecting that connection. Removing triggers like phones from the bedroom, using packs like device-free dinners or evenings to guarantee quality time, making presence a priority.
Because it's so easy to be with someone but not really present.
Tragically easy. The book gives you tools to fight that.
Wow. Okay, that was a really comprehensive dive into Indistractable. It's so much more than just put your phone away. It really feels like it's about intentionality, about understanding ourselves, and then designing our lives and environments to support what we value, rather than just letting technology dictate our days.
Exactly. It's not anti-technology, it's pro-intention. And it is a continuous practice, like the author says. But these strategies, grounded in psychology, they give you a real roadmap, a way to gain that control and live, more deliberately.
Absolutely. So much practical wisdom packed in there. If you found this discussion useful, definitely follow Bookish Dives for more deep dives like this one. We love unpacking these big ideas and giving you actionable takeaways. There's always more to learn, and we're here to help you get those key insights. We'll catch you on the next Bookish Dive. And maybe until then, think about this. What's one small pact, one little pre-commitment you could make today to protect just 15 minutes of focused time for something that truly matters to you?